Welcome to the Heart Align Welcome to the Heart Align podcast. I'm Leanne, brand strategist, photographer, and mentor. Whether you're navigating a rebrand, finding your voice, or trying to stay connected to who you are, this space is for you. Around here, we believe that branding isn't just the way it looks. It's how you make people feel and who you are becoming in the process. Each week, I'm sharing honest conversations, brand insights, and conversations that remind you you don't have to choose between business strategy and staying true to yourself. You are the heart of your brand, so let's build from there. On today's podcast, this is a riff. This is unscripted. I wanted to do a little bit more of a chat style video podcast on the journey of trying and failing and the importance of remembering that everything that we are doing is building on itself. Every step that we take, we are getting closer and closer to the destination, the skill, the return, the growth that we want to see. I recently hosted a 5-day mini series on getting aligned, and I ran a series of stories to promote this, and I set the date to launch the mini series about a week out. The goal of this was to create some momentum, to establish some thought leadership, and to grow my email list, all of which are great goals. But as a small business owner who isn't using ad dollars to generate new eyes on my content, and is really relying on the limited views that people are going to see on LinkedIn, Instagram, and through my Substack posts and in my email newsletter, it's really difficult to see the numbers that you want to see, especially whenever you're comparing yourself to mega online entrepreneurs. We've heard of these people: Jenna Kutcher, Amy Porterfield, Marie Forleo, and then there's like a ton of male creators out there as well. Rachel Rogers, huge following. And when we are consuming content from these people, we assume that we are going to see the same results without really understanding the data. Not only are we putting ourselves out there in a way that feels hard and difficult because this is coming from us, we don't have a big team of people. It's also difficult because as a small business owner, we don't understand those numbers. So we expect the success to be much greater than it actually is. And this is where I really love talking about heart and strategy and the importance of bringing those two together, because when we can understand the numbers and the data, it helps take out the emotional turmoil that we experience, because how can we not? It's so intimately connected with us. An example of this is a lot of people set out to write consistently on Substack, but ultimately people are aiming to increase subscribers and then convert those subscribers to paid subscribers. Here's the thing though. The conversion rate for free subscribers to paid subscribers is between 3 to 5%. And that is such a small amount. If that's the conversion rate, what does this mean for the long game of building an audience on Substack? Well, it's just that it's a long game, and it's important to put it into perspective. It is something that takes time and consistent effort to see that desired growth. If the percentage is 3%, in order to get 30 paid subscribers, you would need 1,000 free subscribers. And I know that those numbers sound really discouraging. But as small business owners, do we have the time to wait until we have 1,000 free subscribers to get those 30? It's important to know, because when we set out to do something, we unintentionally have this idea that it's going to be a much quicker track to success. In reality, it's a lot of missteps. It's showing up when nobody else is paying attention and still showing up even after. That's when the real growth, that's when the community, that's when the movement happens. So back to the mini series that I launched. I ended up promoting that for about a week-ish before I launched the mini series. And as I said, I promoted it via LinkedIn, my stories and on Substack notes. I got 2 subscribers for the promotion, and those people I believe came through my stories. But here's the real kicker, and this is probably the part that made me smirk the most. After I did the mini series, which I sent to not just the new subscribers, but also to my current email list, I had 3 people unsubscribe throughout the process. And so this is where I thought it would be really fun to share with you and talk a little bit about how do we reframe this? How do we move forward whenever the results are less than desired, when we've put so much of our energy and our time and our heart into something that we believe in? How do we keep going? How do we move forward? Drumroll, please. We move forward by maintaining perspective. Even though I lost 3 subscribers, in a way, this is really good because they're saying, I do not want to be a part of this. And I want that. I want people to be a part of this community. If someone does not feel like the things that I am sharing resonate or is moving them forward in the way that they want to, then that's okay. And so even though 3 people decided to opt out, what that says to me is that those are 3 people who made the decision that was right for them, and that opens up more room for the right kind of people. But what about the fact that I only got 2 subscribers? Only got 2 subscribers. There's a couple ways that we can reframe this. One is that 2 subscribers is actually a pretty big deal. If we think about the conversion rate or the way that people behave on these different types of platforms, to get someone to make the decision to leave the platform is extremely hard, which means in order to get people to raise their hand and say, I want to go off of this platform, you really have to do a lot of work to build that trust, to build and teach people how to interact with you and people trust you. The fact that I was able to get 2 people to raise their hand and say yes, when the average view rate for my stories is maybe between 75 to 100 people on a good story, that's a pretty big deal that 2 people said yes. Now, does it feel good to be like, I only got 2 people? It's hard because when we are thinking about it, we are comparing ourselves to big creators who have thousands of followers and probably have exponential amount of story views in comparison. When I think about the data and I think, okay, if I got 2 people out of an average 75 to 100 person story view, if it's out of 100, that's a 20% conversion rate. That's a really good rate. So how do we keep chugging along? Even though the data says that's a good conversion rate, our hearts, our soul, all the time and energy we put into creating something, it's still hard to stomach that that's as far as we made it. We find the other ways that action is moving us one step closer to our future. The way that I look at it is that, one, I built a beautiful mini series that I am now going to be able to turn it into an evergreen lead magnet, or I can run this challenge every 3 to 6 months. My focus is going to be on marketing it and getting more people to see it and more people to sign up for it, not just in my stories, but through posts, possible paid advertising, you name it. There's lots of ways. Another reframe is looking at how much growth I made and being able to allow myself to be seen and to market without being overly attached to the result. One of the biggest things that holds small business owners back is a lack of action. We're so afraid to feel that failure that we often overplan, over research, overbuild, and we never do the action that is actually going to create the momentum that we need to start to see results. The fact that I did it, one, is teaching me and my nervous system how to do this and how to continue to show up through disappointment. But it's also got me 2 people closer than I would have had before. I think that these actions that we take and the results that we see aren't talked about enough, especially when it comes to small business owners who do not have a team of people behind them to support them, who are out there going at it alone for the most part. I really wanted to share this with you is because many of us start out and we see this ladder. We're at the bottom and we see the top and we want to be able to stretch our legs and skip those steps because it's really uncomfortable to be in that space. But there are no ways to shortcut the process if you are really building a soul aligned business. Now that I've shared this failure, I would love to hear a recent action you took in your business that didn't necessarily yield the results that you had hoped, but the way in which you were able to reframe it or find the nugget of inspiration that is giving you this momentum to keep moving forward. For me, I am working on finessing the emails, and then I am going to be creating a video series to share here on Substack to live long term as a supportive element to the email series. And then I'm going to share it again. And I'm just going to keep doing it because at the end of the day, finishing last is better than never starting at all. That is not my quote. I will be sure to credit the creator in the show notes below. And because I want you to feel empowered and to realize that it's not personal, what you are doing does matter. It is making a difference. You are doing a good job. Keep going, but also to remember that it is a numbers game, right? There's a balance between the two. People are inundated with information every single day. It's information overload. It's attention fatigue. So when we have something to say, we have to share it with our whole hearts. We have to share it with as much passion as we can while simultaneously being detached from the result, knowing that the right people will hear our message. They will find us as long as we keep showing up and we keep doing the thing that we are meant to do here on this earth. All right, so let's get into some statistics. This is from Digital Marketing Conversion Rates for 2025. This report was put out June 18. This is not broken down by platforms. This is broken down by channels. I will share in the show notes platforms so that you can see and, as I mentioned, give some perspective. SEO. For B2B conversion rate, it's a 2.6%. 2.6%. My friends, this is so itty bitty bitty. Email marketing, 2.4. This is all for B2B. For organic social, 1.7%. So even less. For paid social, it's 0.9%. For display ads, which I'm assuming these are ads that are posted on the sides of when you go to websites and stuff or on billboards, it's a 3% point, no, 0.03, not 3%, 0.03. Influencer marketing, 0.8%, not great. Affiliate marketing, 1.2%. Online PR, 1.1%, and webinars, 2.3%. This was all for B2B. For B2C, I'm just going to give you SEO, organic, email marketing. SEO is 2.1%. Organic social is 2.4%. And email marketing is 2.8%. As always, I want you to take what resonates. I want you to leave what doesn't. If you heard something that was inspiring or you want to share your own experience with moving through and trying to figure out this online marketing space, I'd love to hear your experience in the comments below. If there is someone who you think would benefit from these video podcasts, please share it with your friend. This is the best way to get new people into this ecosystem. And it's also a great way to be the ideal client, the ideal customer that you want for your business. When we practice it, it just creates that good juju, that good energy, and it comes back to us. And as always, remember, you've got this dang thing.